This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
We are back here with Kevin Wachtmann Smoot, our interior design owner of KMB Interiors, based out of beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He's joining us again to talk more about how he's transforming your home into one-of-a-kind sanctuaries and really helping you to elevate, the life that you built. So first and foremost, thank you for being here today. How are you?
I'm good, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. I had a good time last week. If people don't recall, the last show we did, you talked a lot about finding the beauty between that minimalism and maximalism design, right? And also about the Pinterest board paralysis and finding your own style. And also, we talked a little bit about redefining a luxury. So for today, when playful meets polish, the story behind the boho bachelor daddy pad, right? We're going to talk about the design process today. And before we dive right into that, I just would love for you to walk us through your specific design process, if you don't mind. And it's good to also learn, if you don't know, about his technical background in engineering, because that's really helped you play in and along with the design work.
Yeah, so I guess to start off right, my undergraduate degree was actually in engineering, specifically industrial and operations engineering. And what that entails is really looking at systems and optimizing systems. So I'm constantly thinking about tweaking operations
Mm-hmm.
and sort of getting annoyed with like inefficiencies in various business models, like with customer service reps and you name it. I'm like, why don't we have it set up this way? And so I'm just constantly thinking about these things. And I used to have a complicated sort of like 6 step design process that I would take clients through. But what I found out is that people really don't care nor really understand what's going on in each step of the process. What they really want to know is, that we're progressing and that we're going to get those desired results for them. And so right now I have this new process, which it's now really like client result focused and less focused on like the specifics. And instead we're focusing on, what problems are we solving and where you'll be once we have solved them.
Beautiful.
So with all that, right, this new process, we've called it the bold to balance method. And it's really just 3 phases where phase one, we go from overwhelm to vision, and we call that sort of the clarity phase.
Okay.
And yeah, so within that, right, that's when we take all of your ideas and visions for your space and we kind of organize it because you probably have, a ton of different Pinterest inspos, or you've got random screenshots from whatever that you've seen or pictures from a hotel that you stayed at, and you're trying to find a way to bring it all together. But that's why you brought us in. So I take all of that and sort of aggregate it and organize it into something that makes sense from a design standpoint but also still really reflects you. And then from there, sort of this phase two is the design development, where we take that concept and really make sure that it becomes an overall cohesive design. And so within that, right, like it's you know what you love, right? But you really can't connect those dots. So every piece that you might have, right, it looks good alone, but flat when you put them together. So what we're doing is we're really trying to take and curate and refine and really visualize every single corner until your home really starts to feel that like intentional, layered, and alive sort of space. And then yeah, and yeah, feel free if you have any questions because I want to make sure it's clear, even though we're trying to talk through it. But the last phase is this execution. Real, it's really just taking that vision and bringing it to reality. So we just handle every single moving part. So managing the renovation, talking with all the contractors, managing the tradesmen, um, bringing in that full install team, all of that, so that
Got
you
it.
can just kind of sit back and really enjoy the transformation unfold in front of you.
Yes, and we talked a little bit last week about Pinterest, right? Like a lot of people come in with, projects that they see that they want, that they, how do you incorporate what they really want? Explain that process of, because people are going to come bring stuff to the table all the time, right? That's part of the process to see what they like. And what would you suggest to them how to even start, getting to the clarity version of it? What are we doing, right? So what do you suggest your clients do before they meet with you? Do you tell them to go look through magazines, or that's old school, or Pinterest online? Explain that part to us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, part of it, most of the people that are reaching out to me, they've done some amount of digging already. They're not usually
Hmm.
just coming to me to say, "Hey, I have this room and I have no idea what I want to do with it. I have no idea what I like." That's not typically the person that is coming to me.
Yeah.
The person who's coming to me is someone who has maybe even already tried to do it themselves and realize that they can't do this. They don't have that eye. They don't have that 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 expertise or that level of
Yeah.
patience to
Hmm.
go through all the details to make sure that it comes together seamlessly. So typically, yeah, people for me, they've already done some amount of research and maybe they've even worked with, say, like um, a design store, like, say like a West Elm or whatever. They
Yeah.
have like sort of these design specialists that work
Hmm.
there to help them kind of curate spaces. But they end up usually finding that that's not going to be enough because they need to incorporate so many different things to create these curated spaces. You don't want to just have, a one store showroom looking space. You want something that really looks like and feels like you. So that's the process that we really kind of take them through. And so they've already have usually some amount of Pinterest boards, but I do through our onboarding, I do have sort of like a questionnaire, like a very quick, I think it's like 10 questions or so. And again, I'm constantly tweaking these, but where it's just, to get them in this space of
Yeah.
feeling and dreaming and really just thinking about their space, right? Because it's not just about the look. It really is about how do you want the space to feel, and to dig into that is where some of this magic really happens. And um yeah, I mean, for me, that's what I love doing, is getting into that sort of nitty gritty with the client and trying to understand what it is that really makes them come to life and finding ways to really incorporate that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And so you say by the end of this, the bowl to balance method, you're saying your home is going to just really not look elevated. It's going to feel aligned.
Yes, exactly. Where it's not just a space that looks pretty and you can be
Hmm.
happy with it, but it's actually a space like when you walk in, you actually feel like you are connected now to your home in a way that you haven't ever been before. And that's that like intangible thing is what we're really trying to deliver, that you the viewer can't necessarily just see by looking at a photo. It's really for the client themselves. So we create these pretty bold spaces, but it's really for speaking to that specific client. And
And
so
oh, go ahead.
yeah, so yeah, no, you're fine. And so every finish, right, every color and corner, right, is going to tell this story with, my polished designer's eye, but also mixed in with the comfort of the client's own energy. And that's really where we spend a lot of time behind the scenes, tweaking and tailoring and making sure that the end result is something that really represents them.
Got it. And you also, it's the work that you've been doing. If you don't mind just giving us a little of the backstory for those that are new to this, you and Braden, right? Both of you decided to come together to become K and B. Could you just share a little bit of the background before we continue, since there are new timers out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually started the business doing flooring installs. We were really getting our hands dirty back in Toledo, Ohio, and that was Braden's vision initially, was to just open up a flooring install business. But at the same time, we were renovating our own house, and I wanted to make sure, like my clients do, right?
Yeah,
We
of
wanted to make
course.
sure we get it right the first time. So I already having sort of a designer eye and have already, at that point done some, offhand projects here and there, like doing my mother's bathroom renovation when I was in high school. Oh, side note with that, I did forget to mention last week. So it was my grandpa who was the general contractor, but then his brother as well was there. So shout out to my grand uncle as well, because my family did did chime in on
Aw.
that one for me. So
Hi.
um yeah. But sorry, I got sidetracked there for a second. But yeah, so I had, a couple of projects here and there at that point. And then I took I enrolled in the New York Institute of Art and Design, fell in love with the coursework there to really streamline my design approach. And then when we moved to Philadelphia, that's when we really, really hit the ground running with the interior design business.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And let's now continue to talk more for today. If you are tuning in, again, we just, when Playful Meets Polish, you mentioned the story behind the boho bachelor daddy pad. I want to know what this is all about. We're going to get to that next. And this is good stuff because I was curious. And then, of course, I read ahead because I do have notes everyone sometimes. Yeah. So let's talk. What was the inspiration behind this project name and what does it mean exactly?
Yeah, so this project was a ton of fun. And I always love coming up with the names for projects. And this one in particular, I was pretty specific about why I needed this, right? So boho, so the client Steve, that was sort of his main design style when he kind of went through Pinterest and I reviewed it. It was like, okay, he really gravitates towards this sort of like modern, organic boho vibe.
Hmm.
Cool. All right, great. He also was recently divorced at this point as well. And so he was definitely, single, ready to mingle. And I remember on our initial discovery call, he, told me he didn't want the space to look like a bachelor pad. So I just in my
Hmm.
head, I always was, had that in the forefront. And then the daddy part is because he's actually a father of twin girls. So, boho, bachelor, daddy pad. He really wanted this space not to look like just a man cave or a bachelor pad. He was very specific about some things that he wanted and to make sure that it really reflected a family home with girls. He wanted it to be playful. So I wanted the project name also to sort of be playful. So boho, bachelor, daddy pad is sort of what we came up with.
Love it, love it. Very unique. And if you don't mind just walking us through, how the space looked before, and we're going to get to that, right? So tell us more, what we're going to be looking at. You're going to be sharing your screen?
Yeah, so actually in the notes I have photos if you scroll down so you can kind of see there, but I'll try my best for the
Oh, okay.
listeners
I just
too.
thought you were going to share so we could actually see it. So it's better to look at it while we talk about it. So,
Yeah, yeah, so it should be there in the notes as well for you, but
yep.
basically the whole house has sort of these cherry hardwood flooring which a lot of people, a couple years ago were pretty much ripping all of that out because it has this like really reddish undertone to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we ended up keeping them because we found ways to actually work with them. That's something that I'm never one to, unless I have to, right? Rip out, original high quality flooring and things like that. If I think there's a really good way to utilize them. And so with this space, we did find a couple different ways to do that. But the paint in the whole house was that classic like millennial gray, and you've got this like trim white molding throughout. And then when you walk through the living room, dining room, it's like a all open, but it's this very odd layout. It's got this like L shape. So you walk in down this narrow hallway, and then you are greeted with sort of this dining area, which is a step up from what would be where the living room is. And you
Mm-hmm.
see this sort of like, nice white fireplace. It's about, 40 inches tall. And then it's flanked by, a floor to ceiling sliding glass door on the left side. And then there's this like really, really, really weird small place window on the right. So it's like this very asymmetrical
I'm sorry.
moment.
Do you want to share your screen so we could show everyone as we talk about it, or
Oh, can they can see it?
well, I thought I see. I assumed that you would show the pictures as we go, and you could share your screen. If you want to pull them up, you can. If not, do you
Oh,
need my
okay.
help in sharing the screen? I could share the screen, but then you see my whole computer screen. So, but yeah, I think it's important for us to see this as we're talking about it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to share, that would probably be
Sure.
easier
Okay, hold on
if
one
we can do
second.
that.
You got it. So as we're talking, you could see here, right? This is what we're talking about. Right? I see the fireplace here. And I can click on whatever it is you'd like first. So you talk about the cherry hardwood floors. Are these them?
Yeah, so these are sort of obviously the after pictures, but you
Yep.
can still get a sense of the layout, and you can see sort of the white, you know, molding throughout the space. And originally, like I said, there was sort of this millennial gray throughout the entire house, as opposed to what we've now painted it. Um,
And this is that sliding door over here, I believe you just mentioned, right?
exactly, yes. And
And
then
then
you can
that
see that
window
sort
on
of
the right that you say, yep, right here. Okay.
yeah, this awkward window where yeah, it's like really small, it's not centered, and I don't know why this is in a condo community, so
Okay.
there's only so many things we can sort of
Yeah.
mess with. Um, but yeah, it was just a sort of weird asymmetrical moment. So part of the theme throughout was definitely like there's asymmetry here. Let's lean into it. But the space gets, you know, natural light around midday during the summer. Otherwise, it's kind of like it's dark. So
Yeah.
lighting was a huge, huge thing we wanted to tackle. There wasn't, you know, like a light source in the dining
hmm
room. We added that in.
I see.
Um,
Is that like a little chandelier lamp up there? I like that little netting thing.
oh yeah, so in the living room, yeah, that's the like a sort of semi flush mount is what we kind of call it in our world. And then same with the in the dining area, there's the kind of funky brass semi flush mount as well to give lots of lighting. We did those wall sconces mounted in the dining area um as well. And then in the two bedrooms on the second
Okay.
floor,
May I scroll to them?
there,
Is this the bedroom
yeah,
you're talking about here?
yeah. So that's that's Steve's bedroom. Before again, it was just blank walls, millennial gray, that type of thing, and then the girls' bedroom was actually a similar deep blue, but like actually more blue than what you see there. It was covered, like the ceiling was this dark blue, the
This
walls were all
one?
this dark blue. Yeah, yes, that used to
Wow.
be dark blue everything.
Oh my God, this is
Um,
beautiful. Is that wallpaper on the ceiling?
that is indeed, yep, yep. We definitely had some fun playing with that. But yeah, I think it was probably a man cave before.
Yes.
Um, that's my only guess with how dark it was in there. But yeah, both bedrooms, you know, had good lighting, you know, good sized windows. But overall, right, we had this sort of blank slate because he had bought the condo
Mm-hmm.
and we were fully furnishing, decorating, and doing some, you know, a nice glow up to
Yeah.
the overall space. So that's kind of, you know, the before of it all.
Beautiful. All right. What else? Do you want me to stop sharing? Is there anything else on here that you want to point out with your work that we are currently looking at?
Yeah, so I guess we can kind of talk through some of the details here real quick. So Steve really he asked for very little, but he got a whole lot, right? Like Pinterest led him to that sort of modern boho style. But other things that he wanted was he really wanted a large TV for the living room.
Okay.
Um, and he really wanted, as I mentioned before, he really wanted the space to look like little girls live there. And then he wanted a white sofa, even though he has, you know, these 5-year-old girls and a black dog. So these were things to have to kind of keep in consideration. Um, and then there were some things that he actually never even told me about, but I somehow just through the design process and getting to know him, just sort of instinctively knew that they were going to be perfect for his space. So for example, in that sort of dining room, living room area, the rotating room divider, that wasn't
I see
something he
that.
had originally thought to do. Well, he in his mind, it was something he might want to do, but he didn't express it to me until I was like, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
here's what I was thinking for this place." Like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, I was totally thinking of dividing it some way, but I just, didn't know how." Right. Um, the large, oversized wall art for the dining room, that like sexy chase lounge in his bedroom. These were all things that apparently he was really hoping for, but just never, at least initially, brought them up. So that we just, again, through the design process kind of um, came to be.
Beautiful. All right. So I'll stop sharing for now, but you guys get a little taste of, your work and what you're doing. I think that's always important. And let's continue the conversation. So if you are tuning in, we're again with K&B Interiors. By the way, phone lines are open if you have any questions. 631-307-4010, 631-307-4010. Any questions, of course, for our guests are more than welcome. And we're talking, specifically about this boho bachelor daddy pad, which I love, and am excited that we're able to actually, see it. And let's talk a little bit about, specifically. So your client came to you and gave you all these ideas and choices, and then how do you present them to him? Do you give him like virtual options? Is this something that that you actually show him piece by piece what you're thinking about, or do they kind of lend like they put the trust in you to just figure it out?
Yeah, so with Steve, he actually kind of gave me full creative control for the most part. Again, he had a few things that he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, he kind of let me really play around, and I definitely took advantage of it. I mean, he loved every second of it. So, um, but what I did do still was I would submit these 2D, what I call concept boards, where you can kind of see all of the main furnishings, lightings, paint colors, wallpapers, um, all in sort of the same space, so that at the very least, you get an idea like, okay, this is how it's sort of going to come together. We also did for this particular project, I did do mood boards right off the bat. I don't A lot of designers do mood boards all the time. I usually opt most of the time not to do them. Reason being is like when you have these sort of little patterns all jumbled up on a board, it can either A, be very disorienting for some clients because it's like you're looking at these just like either a little snippet of a pattern or like you just don't get the full scale of what it is that you're signing on for, but they are helpful to at least get a gut check of like, do you like this? Does this feel okay? And then you can kind of go from there. So with the Steve project, um, I did do mood boards mostly just so that I made sure we were aligned and that I wasn't going like off the deep end off something that he really wouldn't envision for his space, whether that be color wise, pattern wise, fixture, finish
Yep.
wise type deal. So like for example, with all the lighting in on especially on like the main floor, every single light fixture that we put in there was a completely different finish and material. We did, the in the dining room there was the brass, right, semi-flush mount, and then also in the dining room we then had this sort of like sculptural, the white sconces in there as well. But then in the living room we had this like very contemporary. I don't know what you describe this shape as, but to me it's like almost reminds me of like Aztec um like scripture writing type deal. So that like black one in the corner and that sort of reading nook where the terracotta chairs are. And then there's also the other light that's this sort of like white cement looking one, and just, tying it all together in that way was definitely a huge, huge fun time for me as well.
Oh my goodness. And we're here today talking about, well, today was focusing on this one in particular, a boho chic style, but clearly, you work with all different types of styles, traditions, and if someone does have an idea, bring it to fruition and you're going to help them transform. Also, just want to point out you are award winning, right? Didn't you recently win? Oh, hold on. We got a call coming in. Stand by.
Oh,
Hello. Hi.
go for it.
Welcome to the show. You're live on the line. Who's this?
Charlie.
Hey, Charlie. This is Jill. Just want to let you know you are live on the line with Kevin today from K&B Interiors. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
All right.
Was listening and I heard you talking about this Bohoshi home.
Yeah. 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 You got to check out the website for the pictures later.
I live in Elmwood Park, and we were talking about uh, you basically want to redesign the bathroom and want something a little bit more traditional. And my fiance Jill, she seems to like the traditional stuff too. So, what do you recommend we do here?
So, first of all, hello. I think I got most of your question. You're looking to work on a bathroom, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you and your wife have maybe two different design styles.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I think
So,
you said that she was more traditional, and then
yeah,
what was
she's
your
more
sort of style?
traditional. Yeah, she's definitely more traditional.
Okay, are you more like modern or something?
Yeah, definitely more modern. So we will kind of make sure that we want to make sure we incorporate a little bit of each.
How about half and half? Do half the bathroom each way. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's actually a recent project which I was debating about talking about maybe next week, but the Baltic Sea project, if you look at that bedroom,
Oh,
the couple there, so the husband was very much into sort of more of like some traditional elements, and then the wife was really wanting to push the bounds and go a little bit bolder and go a little bit more modern. So the way in which we kind of found a happy median was identifying, we actually started with the lighting on this project. So making sure we found lights that kind of brought in a little bit of a traditional feel, but still had a nice modern twist to it. I would say the lighting for me is one of those where you can really
yeah.
kind of find that happy balance. As
Oh
far as
yes, it is. I
bathrooms
know
go,
back in the 80s, people used to put skylights in bathrooms. I mean, is that something that's coming back, or is that you know?
oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely, yeah. Skylights are definitely a thing in bathrooms, especially if you've got like a slanted roof type situation. Bringing in that natural light is definitely a nice game changer.
Gotcha, gotcha.
and where did you say you were? Oh, sorry. Where did you say you were located?
I'm in Elmwood Park.
In New Jersey?
Yeah.
Do you work in New Jersey? I mean, you're in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah,
I was just going
absolutely.
to ask that
Yeah.
question too. How local do you go? How far do you go? Or do you do a lot of virtual stuff too?
Yeah, I don't do really any virtual stuff anymore. I did back in the day.
Yeah.
But no, I do my projects vary from Philadelphia to any of sort of like the suburbs on the northeast, west side. And then I do have a few projects here and there in New Jersey as well.
Great. And I'm sorry, Charlie, ask your other question. I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, no. Okay. I thought that was-
Any other
Mhm.
questions, guys?
Yeah, it sounds like he may not have good connection.
Yeah, you're break.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the Wi-Fi around here is terrible. I apologize.
Well, thank you for the call. We appreciate it. And I hate to say this, but in the end, your wife is probably going to win. Whatever she wants is going to go. So good luck on that compromise.
Happy wife. Right.
That's what they say. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Hold on. Bye bye. So, yeah, does that happen a lot where you get two conflicting, couples that want something? How do you bring a compromise to the table here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, again, most of my designs are very eclectic, so it's a matter of find. I don't like to just go either super modern or super traditional for the most part. Um, so for me, it's something that I deal with on a day-to-day basis for sure, and I enjoy it. It keeps things ever changing because you never know which way we might lean, right? Maybe you go like
Mhm.
60%
Yeah.
traditional or and 30% maybe contemporary, and then maybe like another 10%, I don't know, maybe we throw in some art deco or whatever in there and find a way to bring it all together. It's a really, unique one of a kind space.
Got it. Well, we are basically out of time. My gosh, we're over. How do we contact you?
Yeah, you can reach out. Our phone number is 267-225-2113. My phone, I left it back in Ohio when I was visiting my family, and it's being shipped back. I should have it later today. So if you call today, I probably won't get it. Leave a voicemail or whatever. Or you can email us at info267@kbinteriorsllc.com. Website, you can do a project inquiry that way as well, which is also kbinteriorsllc.com. Or you can follow us on Instagram at KWS
Yay.
Design.
Thank you so much. You have a fantastic day and looking forward to the next time we connect, okay? Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thanks.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.